You see, I've come to realize that we all live in our own world. The craziest part about that is there's other worlds out there. We just can't necessarily see them. I only know the world I live in. I can only go so far in the world I live in. So you have to have people around you that will give you a little peek into what they've got going on. So you can see that there might be something better out there. That there might be something higher that you can achieve.
A mentor to me is somebody who does life with you, walks day to day, and just shares the experiences that you go through, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad. Daryl is somebody that does that with me and for me. He just processes through life, talks through marriage things, ministry things, and ultimately is just shows me how to be Jesus more and more every day. A lot of the times you think that you are living a certain way, and not that it's better or worse than anyone else or comparing to anyone else, but you feel like you have a grasp on life and a grasp on the things that you're doing and saying and who you really are. And sometimes you just need somebody that is just brutally honest with you to just point out your blind spots. For me, I need somebody sometimes to just point out and direct me to say and do some things that sometimes I just feel uncomfortable in doing. I love pushing people out of their comfort zones, but I don't really have anybody that speaks truth into me quite often that will challenge me. And so having those trusted people in your life that will push you further than you thought you could go, and dream bigger than you honestly could dream.
You see, in the beginning, there was this guy, Martin Luther King Jr. My mother was white, my father was black. It wasn't a comfortable situation, but they struggled through it. They stood up so that I could now stand here today. I'm not sure they could have done that without a guy like Martin Luther King. He was out there standing up when people were knocking him down. He was out there speaking up when people were telling him to be quiet. So I've studied him, I've watched his speeches, I've watched how he was able to orate and how he was able to portray his message in a way that he could move people, which in turn moved mountains. I've learned everything that I can from that man. I never got an opportunity to shake his hand, but I will one day.
So my man Will Briggs, he was probably the first godly man that ever invested time into me. Once every Wednesday morning, he just relentlessly pursued just a relationship with me and pursued the aspect of wanting me to be a godly man, and how that looked and what I needed to do. And so for 2 years, he was massively committed to just investing in me. He invited me into his life, he invited me into his world, he invited me into his family, and just provided me the opportunity to not only just watch and see how he did life as a godly husband and as a godly man, but also see just a prime example of what Jesus did and who Jesus was to people.
Grant Cardone taught me how to sell. This guy used to be a sales guy, just like I was. He started his career slinging cars at 25 years old. Then he decided that that wasn't enough, that he wasn't gonna just live in his world. He was gonna take what he knew, what he understood, and what he had learned, and he was gonna spread it out as far as he could spread so he could make a difference in other people's lives. Luckily for me, 20 years ago, I stumbled upon one of his videos. And 2 weeks ago, I got to shake his hand. Les Brown has video after video about the greatness that's in you. He tells a story how one day somebody told him that he was the one, that people's opinion of him did not determine who he was, that he was that one generation that could make a difference. I've had troubles in my life, I've had hard times, but every time I would listen to Les Brown, it just brought me to a level where I felt like I can be the one. I can be that one generation. I can make a difference.
So a buddy of mine, he gave me a great quote and I loved it, but he said, true discipleship happens in proximity. And basically what that means and what he was saying was, you can try to invest with a lot of different people and a lot of different things, but truly walking alongside somebody and walking and doing life with somebody is how we create disciples and ultimately how you mentor somebody.
The most recent mentor in my life is a guy by the name of Josh Cummins. Josh Cummins owns the dealership that I work at. When I met Josh Cummins for the first time, I said, hey Josh, my name's Glenn Lundy, here's my resume. I've ran stores, I've sold cars, I've done this, I've done that. You need me to manage your dealership. He looked me straight in the eye and he humbled me in a second. He said, sir, I don't need another manager, but you're welcome to sell cars if you'd like to. I was in a position, I didn't want to do it. I really didn't. I thought I had made it and I didn't have to do these things anymore, but I needed to be humbled in that moment. And I took the job and I've grown with the job and I've learned so much from Josh Cummins as far as how to run business, how to be kind, how to be a servant leader, how to take care of people, how to smile real big all the time, even when you're in the face of anger, the face of anguish, the face of drama and trouble. Stay seated, stay calm, handle it.
The ultimate mentor, in my opinion, was Jesus. And it's explained in different manners, but a lot of the times in the Bible you see it as a disciple maker. And that's truly what mentorship is. It's pouring into somebody and walking along somebody and directing them into a path of where they need to go and showing them some things that they need to see. And Jesus was that ultimate person. He taught and he led his life and had conversations with people in ways that were not condemning, were not judgmental by any means, but were educational. And were thought-provoking. There were times that he did release judgment and say different things, but as far as looking at a mentor aspect of what Jesus did, he had those 12 people that he walked alongside of. And even with those 12 people, he had 3 that he really honed in and had conversations and really poured into. And so that's in my opinion, something that we lack as a society and something that we lack as people sometimes is we don't have people that are surrounding us that are pouring into us and that we are pouring into in that manner. I think everyone should get a mentor. Sometimes we need somebody to point out the things in our life that we don't see, and sometimes we actually need them to point out the things in our lives of who we are, but we don't quite understand the greatness that we have inside of us. I'm going to do this and he's probably going to be mad at me, but it's what it is. Glenn is one of those people for me. Day in and day out, I consistently probably shortchange myself a lot, and it came from how I grew up and just trying to be humble about things. But he continually strives to just let me see how cherished I am and how awesome God has uniquely made me. And so he pushes me out of my comfort zone quite often. I'm an outgoing person, I'm an extrovert, but he pushes me to be an extrovert of an extrovert. And he challenges me day in and day out, just on the spot to do things. And it grows me quite often. And sometimes I hate him for it. Not really, but I say I hate him for it. But it truly does motivate me and move me forward and move me to the next level of where I feel like God is calling me to be.
You too need a mentor. If you don't have somebody that's pushing you, that's challenging you, that's teaching you, you gotta go get somebody. Message me. I'll be glad to help in any way that I can. We live in an era nowadays where technology is rampant. There's videos everywhere. You have access to some of the greatest leaders, the greatest, most successful people on the planet with the click of a button. That's not something Martin Luther King had back in his day. That's not something my parents had back in their day. They had to fight and struggle and figure it all out kind of on their own. But we don't live in 1960 anymore. It's 2017. So if you're just trying to achieve, just trying to get a little bit higher, The answers are out there, because I promise there's greatness in you. You can be that one generation.